Welcome everyone. Today we will be discussing the topic of time reference, temporal relationships and frequency. As we all know, grammar topics can be quite challenging and difficult to understand, especially when it comes to preparing for Oposiciones. Not only is it difficult to structure the topics in a way that makes sense, but it can also be challenging to find didactic applications for them. Additionally, it is crucial to be very careful when addressing these topics, as forgetting important aspects can greatly affect the understanding of the whole content. However, by breaking down the topic and focusing on key concepts, we will make the subject of time reference and frequency more accessible and easier to understand. Do not forget to structure your topics in a clear way. This will not only help you develop them in the exam, but it is also part of what it is required, and you will lose marks if you do not include an index. Do not forget the bibliography at the end either. Now, we will focus on the introduction. Before we dive into the details, let's get on with the introduction to the topic. We will first define some key terms. We will explain the difference between a time situation and a temporal relationship, and the means to express that in English. Now, how will we structure these topics? As we delve deeper into the topic, we will first take a look at the 5 major levels of language: morphology, syntax, semantics, phonology, and pragmatics. We will include a very short definition of each of them. Phonology is the study of sound system in language. Morphology is the study of internal structure of words and how they are formed. Syntax is the study of rules for combining words and phrases to create sentences. Semantics is the study of meaning in language, words, and sentence structure. Pragmatics is the study of language use in context, how people use language in real-life situations. How will this look in our topic? Well, phonology, when expressing time and frequency, it is important to pronounce the phrases correctly. In terms of pragmatics, when expressing time and frequency, it's important to consider the social and cultural context in which language is used. For example, in some cultures, it may be considered impolite to ask someone directly what time it is, while in other cultures, it may be perfectly acceptable. Even though phonology and pragmatics for expressing time are very interesting topics, we will focus on the morphological, syntactic, and semantic aspects. Finally, we will follow Quick's classification of time adjuncts. This classification system organizes the different ways in which we can express time reference in a sentence, making it a useful tool for understanding the complexities of temporal relationships in language. As you can see in our index, we can get now to the part on time situation and temporal relationship. A key concept to understand when discussing time reference is the difference between a time situation and a temporal relationship. A time situation refers to expressing when an event or action takes place, while a temporal relationship refers to expressing the relationship between two events or actions in terms of time. This understanding is crucial in being able to effectively express time and frequency in English. Now that we've established the key concept of time situation and temporal relationships, let's take a closer look at the role of morphology in expressing time and frequency. Verbs. One way that morphology can convey information about time is through the use of verb inflections or tenses. In many languages, specific inflections on verbs can indicate when an action or event occurred or is occurring. For example, in English, the suffix ed is often added to verbs to indicate past tense, as in I walked. Similarly, the suffix ing is added to verbs to form a continuous tense, indicating that an action is ongoing, as in running. Modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries such as will, would, should, and could can also convey information about time. I will go to the store indicates future. Nouns. Some nouns have to be capitalized, like for example the name of days of the week, as Monday. The addition of the plural morpheme may affect the meaning of time expressions. I saw her on Monday versus I saw her on Mondays. That plural there changes the meaning. Adverbs. Adverbs can convey information about time through the use of simple adverbs such as now, then, and later, or through the use of compounding, in which multiple words are used to form an adverb. For example, a little while. Some adverbs are formed by adding the particle ly at the end of an adjective, as in frequently. Prepositions. Prepositions can convey information about time through the use of simple prepositions, such as before and after, or compound, like throughout. Idiomatic expressions or fixed phrases that have a figurative meaning can also convey information about time. For example, in the nick of time. It is important to take note that all these words and structures are used to indicate time and are not limited to a specific time. As you can see, morphology and word inflections play a crucial role in expressing time and frequency in language. In addition to morphology, syntax also plays a significant role in conveying information about time in language. Syntax refers to the way words and phrases are arranged in a sentence, and there are various syntactic structures that can be used to express time. Prepositional phrases, which consist of a preposition and a noun or pronoun, can be used to convey information about time. For example, in the morning. Prepositions in English can be problematic for Spanish students, so it is important to teach our students when to use them. At is used to express precise time, public holidays, moments in time, such as at the moment or at night, and points within a larger period of time, such as at the age of 21. In is used to express periods of time longer or shorter than a day, and to specify a duration of time using a number. On is used to express particular days, parts of the day that are modified or qualified when something happened during travel, and in a formal way with nouns and ing forms. Adverbial phrases consist of an adverb and any other words that modify the verb. She always eats fish. He told me about it recently. Noun phrases consist of a noun and any words that modify it. For example, next month. Finite verb clauses consist of a subject and a verb and can be introduced by subordinators such as after or when to indicate a temporal relation between events. I will go to the store after I finish my work. Non-finite clauses are those which do not have a tense. There are three main types of non-finite clause. The ing clauses, often introduced by words such as after or when. I will go to the shop after finishing my work. Ed clauses, introduced by words such as once or until. Once published, the author disappeared. Verbless clauses, normally in the form of as something as. She visits me as often as possible. In addition to morphology and syntax, semantics, or the meaning of words and phrases, also plays a role in conveying information about time. Semantics can convey information about time if the meaning is not literal, as in, I haven't seen you in ages. This phrase conveys information about time through the use of idiomatic expressions. Furthermore, in English, horizontal language can be used to express time as a metaphor for something being spread out in a horizontal direction, such as across, through, or along. An example would be, the meeting will extend through the week. In Chinese Mandarin, for example, vertical reference is normally used to talk about time. They use words like up and down to express time, such as go up and go down to indicate that time is moving forward or backward. It is important to note that different languages have different ways of expressing time, and that it's important to understand the cultural linguistic context when discussing time reference in a language. By understanding the various semantic elements that are used to convey time, we can improve our ability to express temporal relationship and frequency in English and other languages. Now, if we take a look back at our index, now that we've covered the role of morphology, syntax, and semantics in expressing time and frequency, let's now have a look at time adjuncts. Time adjuncts are clauses or prepositional phrases or noun phrases that convey information about time in a sentence. They are important when we are analyzing sentences semantically. In Spanish, we call them complemento circunstancial de tiempo, and they help us to understand the relationship between the action or event described in the sentence and the time it occurs. For example, I will go to the shop after I finish my work. The time adjunct here in this sentence is after I finish my work. It tells us when the action of going to the shop will happen in relationship to the action of finishing work. Understanding time adjuncts is crucial when expressing temporal relationship and frequency in English and other languages. So we have here the different types according to Quick. We start with the first one, time when adjuncts. Most time when adverbs can serve as a response to a when question. For example, person A, when did he arrive? Person B can reply with last night or while you were at the library. Time when adjuncts can be divided into two types, point of time and boundary of time. Point of time denotes a specific point in time, such as I was in New York last year and now I'm living in Baltimore. Boundary of time denotes a point of time but also implies the point from which that time is measured, such as take a drink and then go to bed. Time duration adjuncts are used to convey information about the duration of an event or action. They can be divided into two subgroups, length of time and duration, from some preceding point of time. Length of time, such as I will be in California for the summer and there was no trouble while we were there. Time duration adjuncts in this first group can serve as a response to a question that could be how long or for how long. The other type is duration from some preceding point of time, such as things haven't become any better lately, or I have been waiting for the books to be delivered ever since I came to this apartment. These adjuncts convey the duration of an event or action in relation to a preceding point of time in time. Let's move on to number 3, time frequency adjuncts. They are used to convey information about how often an event or action occurs. Most time frequency adjuncts can serve as a response to a how often question. We have here the definite frequency, adjuncts that name explicitly the times by which the frequency is measured. The first part would be period frequency, for example, committee meetings take place weekly, or number frequency, I have been in Singapore once, or he demanded a payment again. Indefinite frequency, adjuncts that do not name explicitly the times by which the frequency is measured. We have the first type, usual occurrence, we normally don't go to bed before midnight, and continuous frequency, does she always dress well? The third one would be high frequency, I have often told them to relax, And the last one, number 4, would be low or zero frequency. I have seldom used this app. We have the last type that, even though there it says others, we can just name it as assertive or non-assertive contrasts. We have here different types. Assertive forms like already, still, or by now, and non-assertive forms, yet, anymore, any longer, and then our negative forms, no more or no longer. These forms can indicate whether the speaker is making an assertion or not about the state or completion of an action or event. Understanding the different forms and how they convey information about time is crucial when expressing temporal relationships and frequency in English and other languages. We will talk now about the conclusion and application in our English as a second language lessons in the context of secondary education in Spain. Time is a fundamental aspect of communication because it is an important factor in organizing and planning our lives and interaction with others. And this is why we are learning it. That will should be the first part of our conclusion and application. We use time expressions to make plans, schedule events, and keep track of the duration of activities. Now, let's talk about the when. When, as teachers, we're going to introduce the concept of time. Time reference is important in the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR. As language learners should use language to talk about past, present and future events and to express the duration of events. Even at the basic level, A1, students should use simple present and past tenses to describe routine events and personal experiences and use basic time expressions such as today or tomorrow, which means that we should start teaching about time from the first year of ESO, compulsory secondary education. The expression of time can be particularly difficult for foreign students, as many languages have different ways of expressing time and may use different prepositions such as in, at, or on. So we have to remember that as possible difficulties in our teaching. There are many activities and materials that can be used to teach time adjuncts and frequency in an English as a second language lesson. Some ideas include using flashcards, playing matching or memory games with time expressions and prepositions, engaging in role plays and dialogues to learn them in context, or using visual aids such as calendars and clocks. It is important to provide the students with rubrics so that they are able to self-assess and peer-assess their work, and also give them high-quality feedback. Here are some ideas as well to build learning situations in line with LOMLOE, the new educational law, that include the use of time reference, time adjuncts, and frequency words. For example, we can create a schedule or a timetable for a school or a community event. We can also think of planning a trip or creating a timeline about a historical period. Remember that PBL, project-based learning, rules apply here, so it is important to plan it accordingly. We could also think about how to link the learning situations with the UN Sustainable Development Goals and challenges for the 21st century. For example, by asking our students to do a timeline about women's rights and prepare then an oral presentation, we're joining that together. We can also think how this could relate to other subjects. For example, maybe using time prepositions to talk about the subject of history, or for example, PE, and try to get in touch with a PE teacher and plan it accordingly. Our last part of our index is the bibliography. Please do not forget this part, as it is vital to include about bibliography in our exam. As we conclude our discussion on time reference and frequency, it is very important to note the importance of a strong bibliography when studying for Oposiciones. In this topic, we relied heavily on Quirk and his work A University Grammar of English in 1973, and Thompson, A Practical Grammar of English, 1986. These two books provide a comprehensive understanding of English grammar and are essential for any student preparing for Oposiciones. For this topic, I have to say I mostly used Quirk's book. It's also worth mentioning the contribution of Lord Randolph Quirk to the field of linguistics. Quirk's work in syntax, semantics, and pragmatics helped to establish the framework for modern grammatical analysis. His work on the English language, including A University Grammar of English, continues to be widely used and respected by scholars and students alike. Thank you for watching this video on time, reference, and frequency. And that will be the topic 18 for the exam. I hope you found it informative and engaging. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them. I would also appreciate any feedback or comments you have about the video. Your input will help me improve and create better content in the future. I hope this video has helped you understand the topic of time, reference, and frequency, and that it will be useful in your preparation for the exam. If you find it helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. I plan to create videos on most of these 69 topics covered in the Oposiciones, so stay tuned for more content in the future. Good luck with your exam, and thank you for watching.